If you're a high school student athlete considering playing a Division I or Division II sport in college after high school, there's some important information about the NCAA Eligibility Center that you need to know. Stay tuned. If you're a high school student athlete and you're thinking about playing a sport in college, there's some important information you need to know about the NCAA Eligibility Center. There's some things that you need to do now while you're in high school to prepare for that. The most important thing is that the NCAA Eligibility Center needs to certify you as eligible. And the way they do that is by reviewing your high school transcript and your SAT score. As you can see, the NCAA is divided up into three different divisions: Division I, Division II, and Division III. And it has to do with the size of the school and the level of competition in the sport on that campus. And in the first division, that's where you have the largest schools. There is athletic scholarship money available to students. You can see if we scroll down here. You'll see with the Division I schools, they do have athletic scholarships, and it's possible you could even get a full ride scholarship. With Division II, there's also athletic scholarship money available, and you could get a partial athletic scholarship. For Division III, there is no athletic scholarship money, although you could still get other scholarships from the college, but you can't get an athletic scholarship at a Division III school. And because of that, you really only need to get registered with the NCAA Eligibility Center if you're planning on playing at a Division I or Division II school. If you're going to play at a Division III school, then it's not really necessary to get registered. So this is what the NCAA Eligibility Center website looks like. This is where you would go to get registered. The background picture may look a little bit different as the picture, they kind of scroll through different images in the background. But once you get to this website here, you can get there just by Googling NCAA Eligibility Center. And what you'll do, you can see the URL here at the top of the screen. You'll scroll down, and it says here, blue arrow pointing down, it says register. So scroll down, and it gives you two different options. It gives you the create an account or create a profile page. The profile page here says for Division III or undecided. This is free to create. It's really more of just like an informational account. This is not actually creating your NCAA Eligibility Center account. So if you are looking to play a Division I or Division II sport, possibly in college, you do need to come over here and click on create an account. And what it's going to do there is it's going to bring you into the account. You set up your username and password. You answer a bunch of questions about sports that you've played and clubs that you've played for and teams that you've played for from 9th through 12th grade. And essentially what they're trying to determine is, are you an amateur? You have to be an amateur athlete. Once you get this account set up, that will allow your high school counselor to then communicate with the NCAA. Your high school counselor will then be able to upload your high school transcript, and that's where they start to determine your eligibility. So this is the eligibility requirement kind of breakdown for Division I. So if you're going to play at a Division I school, this is what the NCAA is looking for you to have while you're here in high school in order to be certified as eligible to play as a college freshman right away after high school. So you'll need to complete 16 core courses. Now, it's important to understand that the NCAA makes their own judgment on what core courses are, and each high school actually submits their courses to the NCAA, and the NCAA determines which of those courses are core courses. But typically, it's going to be your English, math, your science, your social studies, and your foreign language courses, and they have to be at least the academic level or higher. It's also, some schools call it college prep level or higher. And that's really important, because if you're taking core courses that are below the academic level, those courses will not be counted towards that 16 required courses that you need. And then you also need courses in each category. So for Division I, all through high school, from 9th grade through 12th grade, you need to have completed 4 years of English. 3 math, 2 science, and then 1 additional that can be either English, math, or science. You need 2 social studies classes, and then you need 4 other additional courses to equal the 16 total core courses. You also have to have a minimum GPA. So the minimum cutoff for Division I is a 2.3 GPA. Now, another thing that's important to understand is that the way that the NCAA calculates your GPA might not be the same way that your high school calculates your GPA, because here at a high school, we calculate your GPA based on all of the classes that you take, including gym classes, art classes, all these different electives. That all kind of goes into your cumulative GPA. And typically high schools also have a course weighting. So the higher level of course that you take, the more course weighting goes into that. The way that the NCAA calculates your GPA is they only look at those core courses, and it's not weighted the same way. So generally the GPA that you see on your high school transcript is probably going to look higher than the way that the NCAA calculates it. So that's one thing to be aware of. And then they also look at your SAT scores. Now, the SAT score that you need to have to qualify depends on what that GPA is, the way that the NCAA calculates it. So, for example, here's the sliding scale for Division I. So you can see over here it has the GPA, the way that they calculate it. So let's say your GPA ends up being just about a 3.0. Then you would need at least a 720 on your SAT test. So that would be the combination of both the English and the math parts together would have to be at least a 720. And the ACT would have to be at least a 52. And you can see on here, the higher your GPA is, the lower that SAT cutoff score can be. Here's the requirements for Division II if you're looking at attending a Division II college. It's very similar, slight differences. With English, you only need 3 years, math 2 years, science 2 years, but the additional optional math, English, or science should be 3 years. So they give you a little more flexibility by putting more into this additional category. Still 2 years of social science and 4 years of additional courses, and you still need 16 total credits worth of those core courses that we talked about. The GPA cutoff is a 2.2 for Division II, and they have a similar sliding scale. So that sounds pretty complicated, and it is kind of complicated. And unfortunately, the NCAA doesn't really provide students with a very good tool to help you track your progress towards eligibility for the NCAA. And that's why there are some tools out there that can help you do that. So at our high school, we have an account with Core Course GPA. And what this is essentially a tool that allows students to input the information from their transcript. They put the courses that they've taken and the grades that they've gotten in each year, and it will start to put together a breakdown of exactly where they're at in their progress. It'll calculate that GPA the same way that the NCAA would calculate it, and it only uses the core courses that are already approved by your school. So it takes a kind of complicated process and simplifies it a little bit. And you can also enter in your SAT or ACT test scores, and it'll show you what the minimum score you would need based on that GPA. So this is a really good tool. You can talk to your school counselor to see if they offer something like this to help you make those calculations. Going back to the NCAA Eligibility Center where you get registered, it's important to mention that it does cost money to get registered. So when you click on create an account, you fill out your information. Currently it's $90 to create your NCAA account. Once you create the account, that'll allow your high school to submit your transcripts. There is a fee waiver that's available for if you qualify for. So students that are qualifying for the free and reduced lunch program at school will also typically qualify for a fee waiver. So if you think that's you and you're creating this account, you can message your school counselor or whoever at your school is in charge of handling the NCAA information, and they can go in and verify that fee waiver to waive that $90 fee if you do qualify. Once your account is set up, that'll allow your school to be able to send your transcripts, and they can send your transcripts at 2 times. They can send your transcript at the end of your junior year and your final transcript at the end of your senior year. It's also really important to know that it's the student's responsibility to send your own test scores. We here at the school cannot send your SAT scores or ACT scores. NCAA will only accept them coming directly from your account. So if you're sending SAT scores, you would have to log into your College Board account and then select send scores and then pay a small fee to have them sent to the NCAA. They do want you to have at least 10 of those 16 core courses completed before the end of your junior year. That's why it's really important for students to get registered with the NCAA Eligibility Center before the end of their junior year.